And now we will continue. We are seeing now the internal audit. What must I determine about my internal audit? About my sources, about my employees. Which kind of employees do I have? Are they prepared for the future that I have visualized? I need another employees, new employees, more capacitated than actual employees. What is the situation in this case? Then I need to take an iPhone, internal factors, assets, matrix, matrix. The same that in the previous case, my company, my benchmark, perhaps another benchmark. What will be the roles? Human resources, financial sources, financial statements, clients, clients not, machines, vehicles, PCs, software, hardware, capacity, process, organization, all the variables that are related with the company, inherent of the company. And I must measure and compare them with my competitors. I will analyze it. I have the information about my company, but I don't have all the information about my competitors. I must spy them. I must obtain this information. And I will not obtain all this information. Then I must operate with intuition. Then in this phase, I have a part of this that is related with analysis and another part related with intuition. Here the same. When I prepare a PEST analysis or a competitors analysis or this kind of matrix, I will obtain information about my competitors, about the environment. I will obtain objective information, but in other cases I will obtain all the information that I need, and then I must apply intuition to fill the gaps. And I will prepare a HAMO-FIT analysis. HAMO-FIT is related with A, administration, M, marketing, O, operations, F, finance, H, human sources, IT, informatics and communications technologies. This analysis could be present in the internal factors and assets matrix. All this analysis is related to know what I have to fight against my competitors. I have guns, I don't have it. I have cannons, I don't have them. What I have to compete. Now we have here the environment. We have here the internal situation. And we have here what we are and what we are not only in sources, not only in the financial situation, but we are in values. What are we in mission, vision? Now, this information will help us to prepare organizational interest. In the case of organizational interest, we are speaking about something that will guide our objectives or goals. Because an interest is something that is not so easily to measure. For example, in the case of the Chilean government, in their constitution is established that their interest is to maintain the sea dominion, because they have determined that as Chile is very, very long and they don't have enough resources on the land, they need the sea. They need the sea to trade with other countries. They need the sea to exchange with other countries and to exploit it. And they know that if they receive an attack from other countries, they must have a dominion over their seas because they have a very, very long coast. Then it's their interest to control it. It's not an objective. An objective as a term is measurable. I determine all things that I need to accomplish this. In the case of the interest, is something that I said, it's my interest to have the dominion of this thing. It's my interest in the case of a company to be one of the best companies in Peru or in Lima. Then I will establish under this interest, I will establish some objectives, some goals, and so on. Okay? Interest. In many cases, in many books, you wouldn't find this concept, and it's very, very important. On the other side, we have cardinal principles, and cardinal principles are more related with values and ethic code. And this cardinal principles is like we say, north, south, west, east. They will guide us. They will give us a direction. We must determine with these cardinal principles what must we do in the future, what is important for us. And they will apply by these principles, they will do that these values and ethic codes will be more operable. You can process. You will see many situations that you have not considered in your plan. Many situations by which you don't have processes and you don't have a room to take a decision. Then cardinal principles will inspire you what to do, related with vision, mission, values, and ethic code. Okay? These are cardinal principles. And after we have done all the things, then we can establish long-term objectives. What do we want to obtain or to reach in the future? Because we are speaking about a long-term plan, a strategic plan. And as we have to do so, perhaps we need to have here a kind of feedback, because in some cases we will say, okay, these long-term objectives are too hard, very exigible, we can't accomplish this. We must relax here something, because we need to adapt this plan to something that we can really do. If it's impossible to obtain, if it's impossible to reach, then we have only a plan that is not applicable. And after we have determined this long term, we have a strategic process, and this strategic process will combine the long-term objectives with the environment analysis, the external audit, and the internal audit. This is our strategic process. Our strategic process will define many things about the resources that we need, the things that we must do, things that we must obtain, how must we do that this long-term objectives will be something that we could operate and that could help us to obtain what we are trying to reach. Okay? And again, it could be that after we prepare this strategic process, we will determine that it's too much for us, or it's not too much, it's too easy, it's not something that will help us to be better. Then we must check all the process, all the previous process, until we have something that in long-term objectives and the strategic process is something that is really something that needs our effort. It's something that we can do. It's not easy to do. We must be in permanent tension, because we must to obtain the thing. It must be realizable, but it must not be easy to do. If it is easy, it's not a strategic plan. And then you will define external and internal strategies. External strategies is only a strategy, but some of these strategies are related with what will you do in the environment against your competitors, in favor of your clients, and in favor of your suppliers. And in the case of internal strategies, you will think about your employees, you will think about your sources, because you need to operate in a well way, or you will have problems. And as this is a long-term objective and my strategic process is related with a long-term activity, I need to establish goals for the first year, the second, the third, and so on. These are short-term objectives. And in the case of short-term objectives, we are speaking about something that I must accomplish every year. I will establish what must I accomplish in the year 1, the year 2, and I will do it now. I wouldn't establish this in this year, and next year I will see if I will establish which kind of objective. No, you must establish objectives now for every year. And perhaps you could change it because conditions could be different in the future. But you must establish which are your objectives. How much people you must hire this year, how much in the next, how much in the next, in order that at the end, at the 5th year, you will have the people that you need, in the quality that you need, with the preparation that you need. You must be prepared for this. Then, this is the short-term objective, and this short-term objective will show you that perhaps you must change again your strategy, your long term. So you have again a feedback. You must return to see if you have established well your objectives. Because the most important thing is that this must be realizable and it must be something that will produce your effort. And after you have established your short-term objectives, then you must establish which will be your organizational structure. It could be changed, but must be it in the future, in the year 1, 2, and 3, and so on in the future. Your policies, which kind of policies will you apply every year to adapt your activity, to adapt your company to the environment, to your new product, to your new locals, your new processes, because your processes will be changed in the future. And about resources. What kind of resources do you have or will you have? Personal, materials, office equipment, machines, and so on. And motivation. You must motivate your people. In the case of motivation, you need that these people will work very hard for you. They need to be motivated. They need to think and to feel that they will receive a compensation for this effort. And by this, they must have some kind of loyalty with you. Because if they don't have this loyalty, if they are not motivated, they will not work so much as you need. Or they will go to other opportunities and left you. You need that these people that you have prepared will work for you for a term. And finally, the environment and ecology variables. You must respect them. It's your social responsibility to maintain these variables always in your scope. If you don't do this, you could be lost the train and you could be lost markets. And again, before we end this picture, remember that we have seen here the intuition, and now when we work with strategies, we are in the decision phase or implementation and direction phase. Okay? All these things here is related with plan, analysis, and intuition. But only when you have established your strategies, only then begins your activity. Then you are under the decision and implementation direction. Finally, as you have accomplished with all these rules, you will reach the expected future situation. You have begun here in the actual situation, you will reach the expected future situation. All this process is to reach this final position. This is your effort. And this is something that every financial institution needs to do. Financial institution, and I have told you, is a sector that is very sensible, is very sensitive to what is happening in the environment. But this strategic plan is something for them very important. Not only for them, the same plan can be used for every kind of entity. Then take this in account. You could use this picture for your own work. This diagram has been prepared by I don't remember the entity. Centrum. It has been prepared by Centrum as is unit the strategic course. You can use it in the future or when you have when you reach the course of Royal global direction. Then we have here another thing: macroeconomic environmental. We need to determine what could happen in the future. These are variables that you have seen in the course of macroeconomic. If you have think that it was the last time that you will see these horrible variables, you were wrong. What is happening here? Suppose this picture, this here, you have here the interest rate. The interest rate is high. You can reach the green line. It's high. If you have a higher interest rate, the level of investment will be lower. Then, if we are in a country in which we are facing a higher interest rate, suppose 50–70%, the investment will be lower. Why? Because if you are an investor and you will receive 50%, if you deposit your funds in the bank, you will deposit it there. It's better for you. You will receive a lot of money, and you you could be lazy. You wouldn't do anything. You will receive a lot of money at the end of the year. Okay? Now, on the other hand, if you want to invest, if the bank offers you without risk or with a very low risk 50%, the project must offer you a very high return. If it isn't, you won't invest. So when you have high interest rates, if the market is applying high interest rates, investors are not running projects because the portfolio of possible projects are very, very small. Why very small? Because they must produce a higher return, or you will invest in the bank. You will deposit your funds in the bank. The consequence of this, low investment. With low investment, you will have a lower consume. Why? Because if people don't have where to work, because we have lower investment, then only few people will work. The per capita income will be very low, and the income of people will be low too. This is the consequence. All related with this green line. This is the first situation in a hypothetical economy. And now, what happens if we want to increase, to grow our economy? We must reduce the interest rate to this position, the brown line. And what happens then? When we reduce the interest rates, then many projects will be interesting right now. Because first one, if I deposit my funds in the bank wouldn't pay me much. Second, many projects will be attractive because I have an opportunity cost that is very, very low. Then investment will be higher, consume will be higher too, because as we have more consume, people will have more work, will exist more jobs, and people will have more consume and more income. This is something that is important if you want to operate in a company. Because when you read in the newspaper, I read the newspaper at every time to you, the interest rate rise. Okay, what happened if the interest rate raise? Then we check these pictures and we could determine what will happen in the market. What will be the consequence if the interest rates will increase? Okay? This is something that you could use, and this picture you can relate all these variables. It's all for today. Thank you very much. See you on 30.